So we're now streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll make you host and then I'll. Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Phil.
Right. We let's get back to Bobby's Cafe on the Greenway. As you're aware, it's an old train carriage. And it says they're planning to offer coffees and pastries for early morning dog waters, brunches, takeaway lunches through the afternoon, and intend to open later for evening cheese boards, cocktails and wine. And they state they will offer hot food in the style of tapas with small plates. They will have a deli counter where they will offer a selection of our wines, cheeses and coffees for takeaway. Opening hours will be 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. Supply of alcohol between 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. Recorded music between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. Do I have anybody who wants to speak on this particular matter? Councillor Darling?
Yeah, I think we should support it. As long as it's 11 o'clock on the dot, it's far enough away from any houses not to be a problem. And they've been trying to sell that for about 5 years. And congratulations on being able to sell it to somebody who's going to run it as a business.
Yeah. Right, does somebody else want to say anything? Councillor Fradgley? Councillor Fradgley? Can't hear you.
I'm having a few problems and actually getting things organised. I just wanted to support what Councillor Dowling said. I think it's an ideal place for this business, and it's good to see another business coming into the town, which I hope is going to be successful. My only comment would be, as it's so much in the open, just be a little bit careful about the amount of amplification, because that sound can travel quite a long way.
You've muted yourself, Councillor Fradgley.
Yes.
Okay. Do I take it, Councillor Fradgley, that you're seconding what Councillor Darling has proposed? Before I take the vote, Councillor Cleeve?
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. I think it's a lovely idea. It'd be nice to see it.
Can you turn your volume up, Councillor Cleeve?
Not me. Mine is up.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Can everybody hear Councillor Cleeve? But you're in support, Councillor Cleeve. Okay, could I take a vote on that then, please? Could you click on your yeses and
I think Councillor Curtis.
Yeah, okay, Councillor Curtis.
Thanks, yeah. In principle, I think it's okay, but I recorded music between this 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. I mean, one of the nice things about going down the Greenway is that it's fairly peaceful and quiet. So I am a little bit. It just seems do they have to have recorded music? I mean, certainly if I went down there and I heard recorded music from at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, I think I would find that pretty intrusive, to be honest. Okay. It's not so much the supply of the alcohol and the recorded music per se, but the length of the time that they're applying for does give me some concern.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. I do have a proposal on the table which has been seconded, so I actually need to take a vote on that. Could you please vote if you are wish to vote in favour of...
Chair, does that proposal include a comment about amplification, please? Because that would cover, I think, Councillor Curtis's issue, that we've raised an issue on the sound level. Because my understanding is that once you have an alcohol licence, it goes hand in hand with an ability to have music till 11 o'clock at night. So you need to control it through the amplification.
Okay. Councillor Darling's put his thumb up, so I anticipating that Councillor Dowling is going to accept the amendment, are you continuing to then second the Councillor Dowling's proposal and amendment, Councillor Fradgley?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can I take a vote, please? Right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-4. Any against? Any abstentions? Right, it's carried. Okay. Right. I will now go on to item 8.4, notices of decision. We seem to be, I've had a look at this, we seem to be pretty well in line with what SDC are doing. I mean, we've had one application which we supported and it was granted, 2 objected and was refused by SDC. We went 2 no reps, which were refused by SDC, and we had one no rep where the application was withdrawn. And we also had an application which we couldn't comment on because it was the town hall's own application, so we're not really allowed to comment on our own applications. Okay. Item 8.5, any other business? 8.5.A, street naming for development at 33 New Street. Do I have any proposals for this? You can see that the applicant have got something called Richard's Place. I did ask Councillor Rolfe what the relevance of Richard's Place is, because normally when we're street naming we like to have the streets relevant to that particular area. And Councillor Rolfe, she doesn't really know why the TVRA have chosen Richard's Place. Does anybody want to say anything? Councillor Fradgley.
I just think if we don't know what the relevance is, I would suggest before we actually make a recommendation, we just go back to the TVA and actually ask them what the relevance is, because, well, I think that's our job, to make sure whatever is named does have a significance for that area.
Okay. Councillor Dowling? Oh, Councillor Dowling's permanently muted by the looks of it. No, here he is.
Say that was my tick from the last vote, not my hand up.
Oh, sorry.
But now I'm on. I agree with Jenny. I think find out what the relevance of it is, and if there is a local relevance, then go with it. That's fine.
Yeah. Can I ask committee clerk, Joe, have you any idea how long we've got to make this decision?
I'm sorry, I don't, but I could find out and let you all know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, does anybody else want to raise their virtual hand? Councillor Jackson, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I agree about asking about Richard's Place, and I think if that's a good name, then I think we would go with that. But I just wonder whether we've got an alternative suggestion now that we could have ready if for whatever reason we're not going to accept it. I don't know whether anybody's come to the meeting with another name, that was all. It's just might be worth just recording it now rather than bringing it back at a later date.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody wants to put their hand up for that one, Mr. Mayor.
No, that's fine. In which case, at Richard's Place, if that's what they're happy with, and we're happy,
What I
that's
can
fine.
say is that this particular development it's sort of a backland development, and it backs onto the new 60-odd houses that are being built at the back of Margaret Court. And if you recall, those who were on the committee then, we had a lovely time naming all the roads there, because we did it via the TVRA, who came forward with names which are, you know, locally relevant. So personally, I think what Councillor Fradge said is something that we need to pursue.
As long as the chairman of the TV isn't named Richards, it'll be fine.
No. Actually, Bill, Councillor Darling, I understand that the chairman of the TVRA lives next door to the site.
Lovely.
Right, I've got a proposal from Councillor Fradgley. Right. You putting your hand up, Councillor Cleave? Councillor Cleave? Ah, right, thank you. Right, could I have a vote on that, please? Councillor Dyer, are you with us?
Yes, but I only just managed to join in. I can't vote because I only just done in the last 2 minutes. My apologies. If it goes off again, I'll stay off. Okay.
All right.
But I will
You'll be deemed to have left the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, 8.5.B. To consider submitting an infrastructure project for consideration for SIL funding. I hope you've all had a look at Appendix C and D to see the structure of what they're talking about. Does anybody want to open up? Councillor Taylor?
No real comment, to be quite honest here. And I've read through them, and obviously there are lots of changes in general to be happening with planning completely, aren't there? I haven't really got any issues which I want to put forward, to be quite honest.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, Mr. Mayor?
Sorry, you asked me before I put my hand up there. That was good. Yeah, the two comments. One is, I think historically we did have a list of infrastructure projects that we had in mind. So we might want to bring those back to this committee. Or secondly, I wasn't sure whether suggestions for projects for funding have to come from this committee or whether any of the other committees can also propose projects.
Yeah. That I don't know. I mean, the first I heard about this particular thing is when it suddenly appeared on our agenda. It rather worries me because as a council, I think we've got a few issues about who's doing what, because I'm sure that we can have some infrastructure projects. We could dream some up, which perhaps Richard Voss and his town centre task and finish group might be considering the same kind of thing. So I'm not quite sure why this has come to planning itself rather than the full council. Councillor Fradgley?
Thank you, Chair. When I was reading through this, it's making a suggestion for the next iteration, as I understand it, of the infrastructure funding statement. And if you actually read through the infrastructure funding statement, there are some projects there in Stratford which have allocated funds which haven't yet been spent, and they're all, you know, Shottery playing field equipment. Shopfront historic spine. I mean, there are all sorts of bits and pieces in there which appear to have money to them and not been done. And then there's a great long list of infrastructure like the Racecourse Brook, Evesham Place junction improvements, Western Road, Birmingham Link, Canal Quarter heating project. I mean, there's a whole stack of stuff in there, some of which will happen because the Ulster Road cycle project, the county have actually applied for money for that from the money that the government put up, and they're hoping to get 600,000 towards it, which I believe is moderately possible. So I think there are a whole stack of projects in there which are, some have been done, some are waiting to be done, some have got money allocated, some of there is a bit of a wish list. I mean, if I was going to add to this for next year, for the next iteration, I'd certainly put on the project one from the neighbourhood development plan, which is Bridge Street and High Street. They might be two projects, but I think those are two projects which, A, we should be actually looking to progress. B, it's had a fantastic actual consultation because it's in progress at the moment, and we're gathering information as we go along. And my recent look at Facebook seemed to be full of approval for it rather than negative comments. And I think it's probably the time to put it into the public domain to see if we can actually get some more funding for it going forward. I mean, we might put some of our own still funding towards it, but I think that's a project that should actually trump some of the projects which seem to be sitting there without much impetus behind them at the moment.
Thank you. I was getting a bit confused with when I was reading it, because it seemed to me they were asking us to justify some projects with costs by the 11th of September, which is what's in their literature. Well, there's no way we are going to, as from today, dream up a new project and cost it all by the 11th of September. Next person with the right blue hand is Councillor Lee.
Hi there, Chair. Yeah, I think what you said was correct, really. I don't know why it specifically come to us as planning. I think it's something which does need to go wider within the town council. And I do note that obviously we've not been given particularly good warning of it for Friday, the 11th of September. However, I think you're right in terms of, certainly Councillor Jenny Fradgley as well, in terms of something for the town centre related to the neighbourhood development plan. I have been working on something on that, which Councillor Taylor has had sight of. So if we really did want to do something, I've got something which we could possibly put forward. I would propose that this is discussed at the next task and finish group meeting for the town centre, which is actually tomorrow. So if we do want something, I do have something in the bag, but obviously I don't think it's relevant necessarily for this particular forum.
Yeah, thank you. I did email Richard this afternoon, but I haven't had a response from him, so he's probably gone into hiding. Councillor Curtis.
Thanks, Chair. Really, just I was going to say pretty much exactly what Councillor Jenny Fradgley said, that there are already proposals in the pipeline being developed, and I think we don't want to be looking at this stage at anything radically new. I think it should really be informed by what's in the neighbourhood development plan already, rather than trying to think up something new. And certainly the Bridge Street and High Street, as you say, they are sort of, if you like, ready to go. We're carrying out public consultation. I don't think that there's such short notice. I don't know, I'd be interested to see what Councillor Toby Lee's proposals are tomorrow, but yeah, just basically agree with Jenny.
Thank you. Councillor Fradgley, would you like to mute yourself? And Councillor Curtis.
Sorry.
Okay. So we do have a proposal from Councillor Lee. Would somebody formally like to second that? Thank you, Councillor Fradgley. Right, would you like to vote on it? I thought you weren't going to vote for that, Toby. Okay. All right. I'll go on to the next one now. Item 9, Chairman's verbal report. I've only got one verbal report to give you. If you recall, we a while ago had an application to build a care home by the station, and we actually voted against it as a committee for various reasons. Needless to say, when I went to planning A, I think it was, they approved it. So I thought that was the end of that, but there's some of you I think have already had an email from a lady called Nina from Lucid Property, whatever that is, who is contesting it. If I give you a view of what it says, in summary, the site plan upon which the application relies is not consistent with the tracking drawings upon which Highways relied upon in order to remove their initial objections to the application. In addition, the existing access into the adjacent site, which is occupied by our family business, appears to have been cut off with a new access created without our consent in order to satisfy Highways' concerns, all the while conflicting with the application's main site plan. We have serious concerns regarding Highways' safety and access to the proposed development, not least because of the fatality at this very access point just 4 years ago. The decision has not yet been issued to the applicant, and my understanding is the latest is that Alice, who is the planning officer, is talking to Highways this week about that. So I just thought I'd tell you what was going on about it, so that there have been some issues. Okay. Item 10, no requests for alterations. Item 11, to register to speak at the Planning Committee. I can tell you that Planning A on 9th of September was published today, and there's nothing on it which concerns us. There will be Planning B on the 23rd of September, and we'll wait until we need to see what if we need to make any representation. Item 12, to appoint substitutes for the next Chairman's Actions, which is on the 30th of September. Are you okay for that, Bill?
No, I'm away. I'm in Cyprus.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I will be available for the Chairman's Actions before the meeting on the Monday.
On the on the 5th, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
on the 5th.
Yeah.
I'll be back by then, so.
Can you do the 30th then?
Yeah, I'm away the next 2 weeks, so I can do the 30th. Yeah.
Okay. Right, thank you. So, all I've got left to say is the next meeting scheduled for the 6th of October at 6 o'clock, and I close the meeting at 18:29. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Sorry about my troubles.
Are you closing it, Joe?
I'll close it down, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.